Grand rising, grand evening, whatever time it is for you. So I've got Selen night today and this beautiful guy. Okay, so I want to talk about or share with you guys a prophetic insight. So just as inwardly and collectively people have been integrating their shadows, and this is done by observing both of your polarities and then taking your subconscious and integrating it into the conscious awareness so that you're conscious of both. A conscious expression of shadow energy looks completely different and resonates at a completely different frequency than shadow energy that is still unrealized and untapped. So I want to point to the macro today because everything is really a mirrored expression of everything. And so you can see this very same integration happening on the world stage. There is a divide taking place. And you might be thinking, well, what about Christ consciousness? I thought that this was about unifying, and it is. I'll get there. But just as within yourself, you had to be able to observe both polarities in order to integrate the polarity that was subconsciously driving you to do things that were harmful to self and other. That very same thing is being mirrored back to you on the world stage in the media. So the divide that is happening on the planet right now is very pertinent because you see there is a divide occurring between those of us who essentially have a soul or are the own source of our energy and those who this black hole soul energy is working through. They come off as being empty and vacant shells. Basically, these individuals that we see in the media on the world stage right now who, they look like human beings, but the things that they're doing and the ways that they're behaving is inhumane. It goes against things like having emotion and even having the ability to perceive oneself. And this is because that energy is anti-Christ energy. Source, God, Mother, Father, God of all, Christ energy is truth. So I guess the bones of what is occurring right now is we are seeing the divide between the two polarities. Truth, I'm going to switch these. Truth and illusion. Those are the polarities that we are watching. And the gap is becoming so substantial, and this is by design. There was a video I posted here. I believe it was on Christmas, where I was talking about how in my own personal life, there was a time where I was able to see what was occurring, but I still chose to share. I was still guided and called to share all of the information, evidence, knowledge, and wisdom I had in reference to the black hole soul shadow situation and experience that I survived. And I did this because what was transmitted to me by Mother, Father, Source, God of all was to share all of the information, speak my truth, so that when the time comes, nobody can weaponize unawareness. Nobody can say that they didn't know. And anyone who is still operating in a state of unawareness will have to be consciously doing that. It will take more of a conscious effort to ignore truth than to see it. And this is how the two polarities polarities that we are witnessing, that we have witnessed both internally and is now being reflected back to us externally. This is how the two duals merge into the one. The one is the I am. This is infinite potential, right? That yin and yang symbol. So the way that you can come to understand this, what's happening on the world stage around us, is by just observing everything that's happened within you, because it truly is all connected. There is patterns. We can call this a prophetic transmission, or we can just call this a pattern that I've recognized both in myself and externally, the same pattern that has been shared with me by other fractals on the planet that they've had inwardly, and it's now happening external to us. So just like with our inner polarities, that dual potential, dark and light, truth and illusion, the only way that that shadow can be integrated is by being able to observe it. And so what's happening now is you have individuals who are operating in that black hole soul energy, and then you have individuals who are operating in light energy. They are the own source of their energy, whereas the others are vacant, like they just suck in and drain the energies. These are two polarities. Now, the illusion-based individuals, the thing about illusion is, in order to cast an illusion to this magnitude, as in the illusion of this false matrix, in order to invert everything, you have to understand that when someone casts an illusion that wide and it affects that many people, they cannot cast that illusion. They cannot cast that lie without also disillusioning themselves. What you do to self, you do to other. So these people who have had everyone on this planet under this veil of illusion, they also casted that same illusion on their self, on their own eyes, and on their own brains, which is why things are going to start getting really interesting to observe. People that are on that world stage, you're going to see them and hear them say and do things that are completely diabolical. But because they've casted that illusion on themselves, and they don't have the eyes to see themselves, they're not going to be able to recognize that they are unrelatable to those of us who still have a soul. That the things that they are doing are making them seem more and more like they are running on a program or an algorithm, like a virus. There's no self-awareness because there is no self. They've sold the self for the false matrix, for the money, for the digits, for the greed. They stole their currency for currency. They sold their prophecy for profit. And that's going to become a lot more evident to us. You know, they sold their connection for exploitation. But this has to be realized. Both polarities need to be seen under the light of the sun, and it is the polarity of truth, light, that is causing the shadow polarity to be seen. And once everything is seen under the light of the sun, that is where integration can happen. That is when the two can become a one. Unity consciousness, Christ consciousness. And that is what's occurring. So just sit back and watch the show unfold. I'm sending you all so much love to the universe and beyond. Bye.